the fastest growing religions in the United States are Wiccan and witchcraft. I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
And that touches on this this domain that is of the spiritual, it's of the heavenly realm. And I've witnessed this from a few Christians, a lot of Christians, who are like, oh, you're not supposed to talk about things like this. You're not supposed to talk about, these mystical experiences you're having. You're not supposed to talk about, interpreting these things. Then why are they happening?
Yeah.
Why do they happen to me? Why do you dream dreams? Why do I see things? It's not random. It's always when God's trying to tell me something. The day that I was making a huge mistake last year, I remember it vividly. A bunch of stuff happened that same day that just seemed really ridiculous, and I remember something happening on the road that I just saved the footage as in a file named Signed from Jesus. It was that vivid, and looking back, I didn't know it at the time. Looking back, I know exactly what I did wrong that day, and God was literally trying to warn me. It's like, that is exactly what I needed to hear. It is, never has my Bible reading been so visceral as when I pray to God, hey, help me reveal something to me.
Yeah.
And then what book should I read? What section? New Old Testament, New Testament? Okay, what book? This one, no. This one, yes. Like you get better discerning. You're hearing it.
Mm-hmm.
It's been spooky, man. And it's like I have so many of those moments of what I'm learning are Christian mysticism moments or synchronicities where I'm like I might be a Christian mystic. I'm not sure. Like, actually, John Eldridge wrote a book who wrote Wild at Heart. His latest book is where he's realizing he might be a Christian mystic. And it's very different from his other books. I haven't read it, but I've heard about it from someone. I'm like, I'm reading that soon, really soon. I think it's Experience Jesus Really. And I think it's just the noticing that Christ is everywhere, that God is everywhere and everything, and knowing how to see it, knowing how to look for it. Do you experience that? Like where you experience things, God in small things that maybe necessarily it wasn't like it's not what you'd expect, It's not what a lot of people say you're supposed to see God in, but it seems unmistakable that there's synchronicities there. There's things that are beyond chance where he's showing up. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's a good question. Sorry, I say that often.
So, I'm sorry, that was a long-winded. I don't even know where I was going with that, but but yeah.
No, I got you. The first thing that I think of is I have a group chat with a couple of my close friends. And my friend Caden was driving and he saw a bald eagle. This bald eagle was like on the side of the road picking at some roadkill and eating up. And I don't know about you. I don't think it's just because I'm American, but I love seeing bald eagles. And they're just so majestic to me. And they're so regal, Regal Eagle. And in the video, the bald eagle flies away. And in my mind, I'm like, wow. God bless. Like, the Lord met Caden in that moment. Like, just, I don't know, revealing such a majestic creature. And it's so rare to see him, unless you're in certain areas where they might be more populated. Like, it just feels very special. And so I see that and I'm like, wow, the Lord visited him. And then he also thought, I didn't say anything. I kept it in my head because that's mystic, you know what I mean? That's people will be like, oh, it's just a bald eagle. Don't read into it that much. But then Caden sent a message where he's like, the Lord was here. Like, he felt like just blessed by the Lord in that moment. And I was like, wow, I'm not the only one thinking that way. And so there's a lot of moments like that where I think I would see the Lord in something, and I would be afraid to say that I saw the Lord in that because the general Christian population is going to be like, hold on, that's too signy. Like, you want to be careful about trusting signs or, reading into things. And you've heard that a lot. But yeah, I think there's moments where you're just like, man, this experience is just so special to me. Like, yeah, I mean, I love nature. I love animals. And I think when I get to experience animals, I think God is blessing me in some way. Not that he is in the animal, not that he is the animal or whatever, but like when I experience wild animals, I just like, or even tame animals, whatever. I feel so blessed that God would like give me that opportunity to be so close and intimate with something so wild. And so I don't think you and I have the same exact like things that we notice, but I think there are things that I notice that, you know, some people will be like, don't read into that, I guess. And so I definitely have those moments, and I try to be careful when it comes to listening. There's, excuse me, there's two things that happen to me when I'm in conversation. If I'm being a good listener, I am taking what the person is saying and I'm repeating it in my head, like the words, you know, just saying it after them. That way I'm not thinking about what I'm going to say next. The other side of that is I'm thinking about what I'm going to say next. So I'm either trying to listen actively or I'm trying to listen to myself, I guess. And so that comes up in conversation with God as well, or in life in general, where are you trying to think about what you're going to say next to the world? What you're going to say next to this deer? Like, hey, deer, come here, you know, or hey, bird, you know, come land on my arm. Like, that's not going to make a bird land on your arm. You know what I mean? It's just going to happen. And you have to be listening for it, I guess. It's a weird analogy, but yeah, it's like in prayer, I feel like that happens where God is saying something and I'm just thinking about what I'm going to say next, what I'm going to pray next. You know what I mean? I'm not repeating the words that he's saying to me. And I think that, I don't know, that plays into the things that we see, the synchronicities that we might see. But like I said, like for me, it's like I'm very much connected with animals in nature and like how God, his fingerprints are in that, I guess. I don't know. I don't know if that totally answers your question. I kind of went off track a little bit.
No, this is good because it did trigger something for me. I think like as you're saying this, I mean, when it comes to listening, I'm gonna write down listening and come back to that. What it triggered is I think what brought me back to Christ was, or the journey that I went on when I was doing a film about a friend who passed away. I noticed that, or at least I thought that I was throwing back the ball, so to say. God threw a ball to me, and I threw it back. And I think what that means to me is God does not call you unless you're ready to pick up the phone. He doesn't throw a ball to you unless he knows you're going to throw it back. So I try to be in a posture of, how can I prepare myself for the ball that I don't know he could even throw to me? Because I want to be utilized.
Yeah.
I want to go through life and be utilized by God in a way that is unthinkable.
Yeah.
Like, I want to be someone he uses to be the young man who has visions about the future, or dreams. Visions about the future might be a misrepresentation of what the scripture says. I think it's just they have visions. You know, I want to be the young man in Acts 2:17 and the old man in Acts 2:17. I want to understand the gifts that I've been given, the talents that I've been given.
Yeah.
And I think lately I've been going through so much, almost like kind of like Job, things just going on and just you know, beating me down. After being on the mountain, you know, I was on the mountain not too long ago, and now I'm just witnessing things beating me down, which I think it's going to, you know, turn around soon. But
yeah, I'm
frustrated being told, what if you're idolizing your film, your feature film? What if you know, what if you're not meant to be doing that? Or what if, you know, you're, what if you're, Tom, you overthink things too much. You're trying to guess too much. You shouldn't be looking into the signs, you know? And the other day when the person who quoted 2:17 was somebody a Christian of the likes who I would say is like I met a group of Christians that I've never been able to say this before, but it's like meeting the Navy SEAL Team 6 of Christians where they're doing something different. And you can tell. I've never seen some like people that carry themselves the same way, that are able to work on themselves the same way in ways that feels scripturally true. And incorporating things in psychology or theology and who are open to Christian mysticism and are like, yeah, we experienced this too. And we're, you know, this guy said, it's like most Christian churches are impoverished because they don't even touch on this. And he also said in the same breath, it's like, the problem right now is the fastest growing religions in the United States are Wiccan and witchcraft. I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
And that touches on this domain that is of the spiritual, it's of the heavenly realm. And I've witnessed this from a lot of Christians who are like, oh, you're not supposed to talk about things like this. You're not supposed to talk about, you know, these mystical experiences you're having. You're not supposed to talk about, interpreting these things. Then why are they happening?
Yeah.
Why do they happen to me? Why do you dream dreams? Why do I see things? It's not random. It's always when God's trying to tell me something. The day that I was making a huge mistake last year, I remember it vividly. A bunch of stuff happened that same day that just seemed really ridiculous. And I remember something happening on the road that I just saved the footage as in a file named Sign from Jesus. It was that vivid. And looking back, I didn't know it at the time, but looking back, I know exactly what I did wrong that day. And God was literally trying to warn me.
Yeah.
But I misinterpreted what was happening in front of me. Now, yes, like I didn't interpret it correctly. It didn't do much to stop me from doing what I was doing at the time.
Yeah.
But there is no mistake about it. God, on several occasions in my life, was trying to say something to me, and it was right there.
Yeah.
It was plain as day, right there. And it was in synchronicities. It was in things that are too beyond coincidence, beyond statistical probability.